So let's have a little chat, shall we? Uh, uh, uh. You know, I really think that YouTube is in the early stages of senility or going into dementia and eventually going into Alzheimer's disease. And here's the reason that I say that. I received a notification from YouTube in reference to a video that I did entitled Hollywood is possessed by the, I'm sorry, God, black men, excuse me, are possessed by the spirit of white racism in Hollywood. I was specifically speaking about the black men in Hollywood. And for some reason, YouTube thinks that that video is, or it incites hate speech, basically. So they removed the video. I tried to appeal it. I didn't get a strike on my channel. It's all good. Whether I get a strike on this channel or not, it really don't make a motherfucking difference because I don't, YouTube does not support me and pay my bills. Okay? I pay my own bills. I'm a communications consultant. I have my own fucking business. I do what the fuck I do. Okay? I'm a spirit communication consultant. Let's just say that. So, in case anybody wants to know. A gay spirit communication consultant, whatever. So it really doesn't matter if it was a hater that reported me. I don't give a fuck about them motherfuckers either. Half of them are dead anyway and live in fear and poverty and, other, destitute conditions. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if YouTube did it. It just simply doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, we see what's happening with YouTube. They don't want you saying anything that doesn't go with their agenda. So you can't speak out against Hollywood. You can't, even if you're not speaking about a specific celebrity, you can't say that some of the black actors in Hollywood, based upon their behavior and their patterns, which their patterns is the spiritual numerical, what do they call it? Frequency. Let's just say that they leave in every step they take. You feel what I'm saying? Because every step you take, you leave behind some form of energy or some form of data that comes from your DNA. That's where they really got the word data from, your fucking DNA, but that's another fucking story. But I find it very, it's the sign of the times. It's just the sign of the motherfucking times. So YouTube, you can eat several motherfucking dicks. If it was somebody that did it, a hating ass nigga or a hating ass bitch, you can eat several ass dicks, and so can your mama, and so can your mama's mama, and so can your daddy, and your daddy's daddy. I don't give a fuck, and that's just the way that it is. Y'all know I'm raw. I'm a raw motherfucking occultist. That's what I do. I'm the occult view. I speak on matters of the occult. The hidden world that's right in front of our eyes that a lot of us don't even see. Just like the fact that nobody is seeing that Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, they've been divorced for years, but ain't nobody seeing that, right? But that's another story. They've been divorced for years. Just like nobody sees that Barbara Walters, the famous journalist, she's been dead for years. She's been dead for years. But ain't nobody talking about that though, right? See, that's all part of the occult. Everything that's hidden in plain sight. Remember when we were in school, we used to have Easter egg hunts around Easter time, and we would have to find an egg or something in the grass? That's what the occult is like. We have to find the hidden eggs with the candy in it and decode it, if some of us can do that. Mainly, the best decoders are usually black women, if you can find one that can do it. It's just what the fuck it is. Some black men can decode, but mainly black women are the best decoders. And that's what the occult is all about. So when I'm speaking in raw form, whether I'm cursing or not, I don't give a fuck who don't like the fact that I cuss. I don't give a fuck if YouTube don't like the fact that I cuss. This is why I don't want this channel monetized, because I will not be manipulated by the little bit of money that YouTube gives its content creators every 21st or 22nd of the month. I will not be manipulated, and I will not be censored. They are trying to shut down people's passion. They don't want passionate people like me speaking anymore. They don't want people to have an individual mind anymore where we can look at shit and come up with our own motherfucking conclusions. They don't want us doing that. So what do? They set up this AI bullshit to censor everything that you say. You can't say this. This is why you know what? I know. I don't know if I would like him as a person, but I have to commend, what's his name? Boosie? Little Boosie? I have to commend him because he stands in what he believes and he doesn't falter. He's a Scorpio. And Scorpios, they stand for what they believe in, especially Scorpio men. They stand in what they believe in, a lot of them. And they don't allow anyone to make them falter in any way. Because you have to stand for something or you will fall for any motherfucking thing. And I know people have heard that cliche before. And you know, in case somebody think I'm copying off of them, that's a cliche that's been said throughout history. Stand for something or fall for anything. The point that I'm making is this. I'm getting to the point. If you're lacking, you're slacking. If I'm lacking, I'm slacking. If there's something that's not going right in my life, then there's something, then that's on me. And I see that now. That's on me. That has nothing to do with YouTube or no niggas on YouTube or no bitches on YouTube. That ain't got nothing to do with them. That's on me. And we have to stop allowing people to infect us with their diseased minds. Because there are a lot of people with diseased minds who are masquerading as occultists. Okay? There are a lot of people with diseased minds who are masquerading as witches and warlocks and all that shit. When you are a witch or even a warlock or any other type of motherfucking spirit or energy or frequency or species or whatever, there is a certain amount of integrity that should come along with that. I'm not talking about being moral. I'm not talking about the confines of morality. I'm talking about having enough integrity to know when someone's against you and to know when someone is for you. To know when someone is keeping it motherfucking real with you versus when someone is bullshitting you. You feel what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these motherfuckers on YouTube who claim to be these gurus and all this other bullshit, they're not led by spirit no more than the man in the motherfucking moon. And the moon landing was motherfucking fake. They showed it on American Horror Story this season. Ciao, bye. Ciao, bye. I knew it was fake before then, but I'm being condescending and facetious. Okay? The shit was fake. Just like a lot of these motherfuckers on YouTube and a lot of these motherfuckers who call themselves this and that. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a that. I can tell you this, I can tell you that. Well, how can you tell everybody else about themselves, but your life is not going the way that it should be? How can you tell everybody else about their lives and your life? You can't manifest a motherfucking thing in your fucking life, but more trauma and drama and conflict. Huh? Let me tell you what I manifested in my life. Let me tell you what I manifested. I manifested, did spell work, whatever you want to call it, changed my reality using my motherfucking magic. I didn't say magic, I said my magic. Using my ancestral magic, using the magic within myself. And I was able to create a reality to pull a man into my life who does whatever I want him to do for me. And it's not because I have my foot on his neck, and I mean that metaphorically. I don't mean that physically. I'm speaking in metaphors because, motherfuckers, they take everything literally. I was able to manifest a man in my life who will do anything for me. He'll do anything for my mother too. You feel what I'm saying? And not only will he do anything for me, he makes sure that I'm okay in every way that's possible. That doesn't mean we don't have disagreements and arguments. Let me be clear about that. Doesn't mean that. It just simply means that this man that I pulled and created this reality to have, he sees the good in me. He sees the greatness in me. Despite my human fucking flaws, because I got a lot of them. See, real motherfucking people who are doing their shit, they're not going to hide their flaws from you. I got flaws, and I don't lie about that. If you're having a human experience, it's your flaws that make you fucking perfect. But a lot of people are not going to understand that. A lot of people are not going to grasp that. It's your human flaws that make you perfect. That's one of the reasons that I don't make a lot of videos anymore, is because I be spending time with my friend. And no matter what differences he and I may have, and we've had some differences, we've had some arguments, but that's passion. That's love. He gets on me about shit that he don't think I should be doing. And I say, okay. But one thing I don't, well, let me tell you the difference. One thing, if he tells me something that I know is for my own good, you know what I do? I keep my motherfucking mouth shut. And I listen and I say, thank you for loving me enough to see something that I couldn't see. That's spirit. That's magic. And that's what I do for me. That's what I do for me. These are the gateways. And I've been doing a lot of motherfucking spell work, spiritual work, whatever people want to call it. I've been doing a lot of motherfucking work. I ain't gonna get into what I've been doing, but let's just say I've seen the results. I've been doing a lot of reversal and manifestation work, as people would say in, slow terms. And it's been working. I've been using my magic that spirit showed me. So I don't have to depend on no bitch or no nigga for a motherfucking thing. Now, are there people who I admire? Yeah. Mostly I admire the black women who are mainly in the spiritual community. The black women that I went to, I don't really, black men, I don't really fuck with them in the spiritual community no more, because them niggas, they a lot of them are not being led by spirit. They're being led by something else. They're being led by how can I put it? Let's just say they're being led by a lower aspect of their ego, because your ego can go lower than what you think. There are levels to your ego. And a lot of them are being led by lower levels of their ego, and they're calling it spirit. But it's not spirit. Sitting up on Facebook all day, posting posts about other people's work and kissing other people's ass is not spirit. That's not spirit. What are you doing to change your reality? Because see, that's what I do. That's my bailiwick. That's my expertise. Especially for gay black men or gay men in general. Changing your reality doesn't mean you're going to get a mansion right away. Doesn't mean that you're going to have millions of dollars. Because see, the most important thing that people miss is not monetary gain. Monetary gain will come. That comes secondary. But what you should be working on, and I'm just giving some advice, you should be working on your knowledge and your wisdom and your wisdom and your knowledge. Because once you take in wisdom and knowledge from self, once you start obtaining more and more wisdom and knowledge, then everything else will fall into place for you. I'm only telling you my experience. Somebody else may have another experience, and somebody else may have another experience. Nobody's experience is better or right or wrong. Everybody is on their own fucking path. Everybody is doing their own magic or work, or they should be. But the problem that we have in today's society is that everybody wants to put their foot in everybody else's cauldron. You ain't welcome in my motherfucking cauldron. You put your foot in my motherfucking cauldron, you're going to fall in that motherfucker and you're going to evaporate. And again, I'm speaking metaphorically because, you know, YouTube, they'll say that that's hate speech, and they'll say that I'm promoting cannibalism and I'm trying to cook somebody and eat them. The point that I'm making is that mind your own fucking business. Stay in your own fucking cauldron and mind your business. Stay in your fucking forest. Stay in your ocean. Stay in your fucking lava pit or your volcano or whatever element that you're working with. Stay in your fucking lane. Do your own magic. Not the magic that somebody taught you. Do your own magic. Your own. What do you know? What came from your spirit? What came from your subconscious mind? See, I know what came from my subconscious mind, like I did I'm not going to get too much into it, but I did a money ritual years ago, some years back, and I've had no money problems since then. I've had no major money issues since then. None. And that came to me by spirit. It wasn't a person. It was spirit. See, spirit is not always what people may think is an actual person. Spirit can be a feeling. It can be intuition, as some people call it. It can be understanding and knowing. These things are not physical. That's why they're spirit. So if your life is not going the way that you think it should go, then take a look at yourself. Don't blame Bob. Don't blame Betty Lou. Don't blame Ellen. Don't blame Tamika. Don't blame DeAndre. Take a look at yourself. That's what I did. Take a look at you. If your life is not going the way that you want it to, and if it's not, the good thing about it is you got the power to motherfucking change it. And you don't have to come to me. You don't have to go to anybody else. You can change your own motherfucking life. But you got to be willing to do the motherfucking work. And sometimes that may mean having breakdowns. Sometimes that may mean going back to places in the past and time traveling. See, time traveling and time machines, all of that is bullshit. Your mind is a time machine. You go back in time all the time. We enter other states of consciousness in dimensions. We do that shit all the motherfucking time. The shit that they tell us that is not, that is not real, that is all fake. Like they were telling us on American Horror Story Season 10. Child, please. So that's why they killed Marilyn Monroe. That's why, see, I always knew they killed my girl Marilyn Monroe. See, I always knew they killed my girl Marilyn Monroe. So that's why they killed Marilyn. Marilyn, is that why they killed you, girl? Because they knew that you knew that the United States government was allowing, that the United States government was running experiments on American people, and they tried to lie and put it on aliens. That the whole bullshit about the alien, what do they call it? Hysteria was all a hoax to cover up the fact that the United States government and other shadow governments within it were abducting Americans, and they made Dwight Eisenhower go along with it, along with his wife Mamie. Is that the real T, Marilyn? And JFK told you about it? And they told JFK, you have to continue with this horrible, heinous, heinous motherfucking legacy of murdering and experimenting on Americans, innocent American people, most of whom were white, probably. But don't nobody talk about that though, right? We don't talk about that. But the innocent white people that were murdered and sacrificed undeservingly. We don't talk about that. Sometimes we got to take ourselves out of our own motherfucking feelings to get a bigger picture to find out what's really going on with us. Because, see, they were doing that shit to a bunch of white people back in the 1950s and 60s. And then they started coming up with all these fucking lies and stories. Oh, aliens and Mars. Is this why they had that genre? Is that why that genre in the 50s, I want to say around the 50s, when Dwight Eisenhower was the sitting president, is this why, and let me say this to any black people who got any problem with me saying what I said about white people, fuck you. Fuck you. Sometimes sometimes you got to look past that to understand what's going on with us too. I'm not taking up for no motherfucking white people. I'm standing up for what's motherfucking right. Okay? And if you are abducting 5,000 Americans, whether they're black or white, okay, they were doing it to black people too probably. They were probably doing worse shit to us. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, that shit they showed in American Horror Story was art imitating life. And life imitating art. It goes both motherfucking ways. And that shit that they were doing, I know I went off on a motherfucking tangent, but that's what the fuck I do. I'm the occult view. My mind is all over the goddamn place because goddamn it, I'm crazy. And I'm full of spirit. Is that why that genre of the 1950s, that movie genre, is that why we started having movies like, The Blob and, They Came from Outer Space or War of the Worlds? Did they use those movies as a distraction to try to manipulate the American people into thinking, or program the American people into thinking that the threat was from aliens from outer space, so we wouldn't know that the actual enemy was right there in that motherfucking White House down there on Pennsylvania Avenue, and right there in that motherfucking rotunda down there by Union Station, that they were the real motherfucking enemies, and so on and so on? And is that why they really killed JFK? Because word on the curb is, let me give you the motherfucking tea-chow. Word on the curb is, they killed JFK, and I heard this through multiple sources. They killed, including him, they killed JFK. He confirmed it for me. Yeah, his spirit, or whatever you want to call it. They killed JFK because he wouldn't go along with that motherfucking shit. American Horror Story confirmed what I knew in my spirit anyway. Because when I was a little boy, when I used to see things about Marilyn Monroe on the television, I would be like, what? Something horrible happened to that woman. Something really sinister happened to that lady. She did not commit suicide. She did not commit suicide. And a lot of people were saying they tried to tarnish her reputation and say, oh, Marilyn Monroe was crazy and she was this and she was that. No, Marilyn wasn't crazy, honey. Marilyn knew too much. She knew shit. Her and JFK had pillow talk, basically. When two Geminis get together in the motherfucking bed, you know it's going to be some motherfucking major pillow talk. Okay? They were having a lot of pillow talk, and he revealed a lot of shit that was on his mind to her. Because he was in that political world. He couldn't tell his wife Jackie because, you know, they say Jackie Kennedy was actually a motherfucking assassin, and word on the curb is she was the one that motherfucking killed him in that car. It wasn't no goddamn Lee Harvey Oswald. That's word on the curb. Word on the motherfucking curb, child. Okay? Word on the curb. Okay? So let's just stop the bullshit. Then I think about the 1980s, how they had all of these television shows. I'm sorry, movies like Strange Invaders, for example. That was a childhood movie of mine where this small town was being infected by aliens, and they were kidnapping people in that town. They had kidnapped hundreds of people, had started disappearing in that town. But they tried to put it on aliens. Could this whole alien shit be a motherfucking conspiracy designed by the government to keep us blind from what they were doing, which was running all types of high-level experiments on American citizens, tampering with genetics and DNAs, trying to, you know, be similar to the Sumerians who came, or whatever, or the Anunnaki, as they call it, trying to recreate what they allegedly did and all that shit. I'm going to say it again. We are living up under an Atlantean rule. Because the same shit that they're doing here on Earth, you know, Atlantis wasn't here on Earth. That's why they keep playing these motherfucking games about finding it. Atlantis was on Mars. In case y'all didn't know, they even have a whole region on Mars called the Atlantean Chaos region. Go read up on it. We're up under the Atlantean rule. And everything that's happening now, that has been happening, it happened in Atlantis as well. Or what they called Atlantis. So is that why all of those alien movies started coming out? Not necessarily talking about the alien movie with Sigourney Weaver. I think that was a whole nother story that they were telling about the origins of, let's just say, humanity and other species. You know, but I think that, I know that all of that shit about alien abductions and all that bullshit, they ain't no motherfucking aliens abducted nobody. That's the gut. Those people are having, let me be clear. Those people that were victimized, they had some experiences, but it wasn't no motherfucking aliens. It's the alien is called the CIA and other shadow governments that we don't even know about. I might be getting a knock at the door from the men in black. Well, come on and knock, motherfuckers. But just know, if you take me, I'm going to take one of y'all with me. And I'm going to take you to places that you couldn't even comprehend. Real talk. But that season of American Horror Story was not only horrifying, but it really showed you. It really showed you why we are in the predicament that we're in now. And then to top it off, it even ties into the thing they're trying to get people to get in their arms. It ties into that too. Could it be that that thing in your arm that they're trying to get you to get, you can't say it. Could it be that that thing is somehow going to change and restructure your DNA and turn you into some type of hybrid? I know I'm crazy. I'm a crazy fag. I know, child. I know, honey. I know. I'll be all that. But I'm just asking a question. Could that be the new, more advanced way to create a hybrid species? By making you get that in your fucking arm. See, ain't nobody thought about that, have they? And I don't know everything. I don't know everything. But going back to Marilyn Monroe for a minute, is that why they killed you, Marilyn? Because you knew that they were kidnapping thousands of Americans and using fake illusionary movies in Hollywood to program the American people, to make the American people, or to convince the American people that it was coming from aliens from outer space. Just like the Twilight Zone, you got to go back to the time frame and the time. Just like there was an episode on the Twilight Zone called "The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street." I believe that's the name of it. Let me be sure. Let me see. Let me be sure. Because they've had several versions of the Twilight Zone. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Shit. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. That was an episode of the old version of the Twilight Zone in 1960. This was all around the same time, in that same timeline of American Horror Story, with Dwight Eisenhower, and around the same time that President Kennedy was getting ready to come into office. Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Dwight Eisenhower the president? Wasn't he elected twice? Okay. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, that was an episode of the Twilight Zone where all these people in this neighborhood thought that the problems that they were having in the neighborhood, the lights went out, all types of shit, they thought it was because of aliens. And at the end of that episode, you do see aliens in a spacecraft kind of observing, saying that, oh, if you take away humans' basic needs, electricity and stuff like that, they go crazy. But those aliens were symbolic of the government running experiments. There are parts of the government that you all don't even know about, that we don't even know about. They're shadow governments that we don't even know about, that would really creep you the fuck out. And they have all types of sophisticated technology that would blow your motherfucking mind. I've seen it. I've seen it. Just like Martin Luther King said he's seen the promised land. Isn't that why they killed Dr. King? When he had that speech in 1963, right after that, they were plotting to kill him right after. 5 years later, you know what Martin Luther King was really talking about when he said he had seen the mountaintop, he had seen the promised land? You know what he was talking about? And that was right around the same time, or not long after, if I'm not mistaken, because President Kennedy was murdered in 1963. The March on Washington was in 1963, but I don't know why I thought that March on Washington was in 1968. I don't know why I thought that. I think there's some Mandela effect shit going on, as people would say. But I thought that march was in 1968. But whatever. Okay. Whatever. When Martin Luther King gave that speech, and I'll get back to the Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. I'll get back to that. But I'm making a point. When he said, I've seen the promised land and I've seen the mountaintop, people don't really know what he was talking about. You see, Martin Luther King met with the elites or what you would call the elitist, or the shadow governments. He met with them. And they had promised that they were going to ease up on black people and the brutality and all of the things that were, going on at that time, the Jim Crow era, racism. They were going to, ease up on that, or they were going to cause it to stop altogether, right? They were going to initiate Martin Luther King, into their whatever. But what ended up happening was Martin Luther King decided, this is spirit. This ain't no fucking, this is spirit. Martin Luther King decided that he didn't want to join them. He saw something that really disturbed him, and he decided not to do it. He was in the initial final stages of joining this secret society, I guess you could say, and he saw something or experienced something that he did not like, and he reneged. But it was too late because he had already seen too much. They had showed him things that no other, or your average human, didn't have access to. So once they realized that he was a liability, same thing with John F. Kennedy, they took him out. And if you notice, we haven't had another Dr. King since. That is why his family is really in the back burner. That is why his family really does not have any, what's the word? There's really no one to carry that legacy. They killed his mother. See, it didn't stop with him. They killed his mother. I think her name was Alberta King. They said some crazy black guy did it, but that was up under their influence, because they wanted to take out that entire motherfucking bloodline by any means necessary, because Martin reneged on whatever deal he had with them to be initiated into that. He saw too much. Okay? He saw too much. That was the real meaning of that speech, that I have a dream speech. He's seen the mountaintop. They took him to places high where he saw things so low. That was the real meaning of the I have a dream speech. They took him somewhere. They were initiating him into something that was beyond your wildest dreams. You get what I'm saying? I know I'm crazy, but whatever. But the monsters are due on Maple Street. Basically, it's about this. It was about manipulation. Same thing that we're seeing now with this pandemic. Seeing how people react to hysteria and things being taken away, things being shut down, seeing who's going to fold and who's not going to fold under fear and manipulation and mandates. Anyway, that's all I really have to say. If you're lacking, if you're slacking, you're lacking. Have your own mind. What I say here, this is just my interpretation from my own dimension. You don't have to take my word for it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.